number 9, 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 number 9.
Zenyatta Mandata, welcome to Pure Finds, the podcast where four awesome guys talk about four awesome albums. Today on the show, it's Beatlemania. All four of us guys here are going to be talking about our favorite Beatles albums, and we're going to give you a little bit of history in the middle of it. This is the show where we get into the gritty back seeds of the story. You've listened to the albums? Well, here's a couple of extra facts. I'm Chris Morrison.
I'm Ian.
Cody.
I'm Ringo. I'm just kidding. Kyle. Kyle.
Out of all of them, you picked Ringo. But yeah, we got an excellent show. I want to go ahead and start mentioning that last week we asked, what is your favorite music industry conspiracy or controversy? Ooh. And we didn't get anything back. We got one. Our friends Darren and our friend Mike both said the Tupac 7-day theory. I didn't look up much. I looked up a little bit on it, and turns out...
It's more like coincidences. It's like the 7-day coincidence.
Yeah, because it was just like, it took him 7 days to die, and he said 7 on an album or something, and then a shirt said 7.
A lot of sevens.
If you watch enough YouTube, you can know that Illuminati confirms all of these speculations because the Illuminati has been confirmed. Just for you listeners who don't know anything about the Illuminati.
As absolute fact,
Tupac,
it's been confirmed.
Freemasons. Anyways, let's keep going.
Let's get into the belly of this. Like,
fuck the Beatles.
Screw the podcast. Like,
this
no, we're done.
Serious shit.
There's no conspiracy podcast.
That's what got me. Freemasons got me.
Yeah. But shoot, I got, Kyle's up first. You have the earliest album.
Oh, well, thank you. The name's Ringo, by the way.
Sorry,
No,
Ringo.
that's cool. No, I'm doing A Hard Day's Night. Which is the third studio album by the Beatles, but the first of all original tracks on an album, which I thought was interesting when I looked that up. Yes, all of the songs on the album are original tracks.
So the first two
have assorted covers, and then there's a couple Beatles tunes in there, McCartney, Lennon. But these are the first ones, McCartney, Lennon, and Harrison, that they're actually working on an album together, and is also known as their first rock album, which I thought was pretty cool too. They start to kind of show their true colors now. They're not just playing their pop hits, or the hits that are already out there that they're covering. So I thought that was pretty cool. Looking into it, I found this album. I didn't even find this album. It was a gift, and I will never give this album away. As some of you may know, I end up giving away most of the music that I get. I feel like art.
It's meant to be shared.
Yeah, art should be shared.
It's like a book.
Yeah, here, have it.
Unless it's
enjoy it.
A video game, that kind of art you got to keep.
Well,
somebody will steal that.
I mean, I bought Dark Side a bajillion fucking times, and I'll still buy it again. I'll have my mom damning me for the rest of my life, saying you should just buy one and take care of it. But anyways, the album title and also a film.
Mm-hmm. Hard Day's Night.
Yeah. The title actually came about by Ringo Starr talking to director Dick Lester, pretty much just saying it's been a hard day's night, and while Lennon was being
it's been a hard day's night.
Yeah. One of those things Lennon refers to as a what do you call it here? Ringoism.
That's like
he and Playboy. He did a interview with Playboy back in 64,
Who,
65.
Ringo did?
No, Lennon.
Of course.
And he was talking to him about it's one of those Ringoisms, because he's a funny guy, but sometimes he'll say something seriously. And it's actually, it sounds funny, but he's actually being serious, and that's where the title of
it's just Ringo. Who can take him seriously?
Yeah, really, yeah. But I thought that was pretty funny. It was pretty humorous. The release date of it in the UK was July 10th, 1964, but was released earlier, June 26th of 64 in the United States, which I thought was cool.
Okay.
Received certified gold in the United Kingdom and Australia. It didn't really receive much, if any, in the United States. Didn't really receive much in the charts back in those times either, which I thought was interesting while reviewing it. It was produced by, everybody knows this man, George Martin.
Hey.
Right.
Yep.
Yep. EMI Studios, blah, 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 blah. Anyways,
EMI.
it was voted the 307th greatest album of all time by Rolling Stone.
307. Woo! Well, I mean,
Out of 308.
And was also one of the 1001 albums to
500.
listen to before you die. So,
jeez. Well, okay, before you die, that I guess that's okay. But it is Rolling Stones.
the beauty of the album, and I mean the songs, there's some good ones on there, but the beauty of the album is that they are short and sweet and to the point. The songs don't last very long.
Yeah.
The album itself has about 35 to 40 minute time. That's really giving it a lot more than it's really worth. Like it's really, it's
a
a
lot,
short.
though.
It's a short amount of time. It's about what 13 songs. You know,
Well, it's
it's
funny
got
when-
2 hits on it.
When they started writing their own stuff, like every album slowly became longer than the last one.
Yeah.
You know? Like I'll actually even get to that in mine
Right,
later.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it's like once they start getting more creative, you know, they really span it out. And then doing drugs also made them
Yeah.
extend the
get
length
into
of
it.
songs.
Drugs are
Sure.
involved. It happens. But
Yeah, we'll talk about that later on too.
Some of their oldest
might have
out-
to talk about some Pepper here in a little bit.
Hey, yeah. I was gonna say some of their older albums, like Hard Day's Night, the first couple. It's like those were just some of those awesome classic hits that they're poppy and they feel good when you listen to them. That's not too out there artsy and shit.
Yeah.
It's easy to understand, easy to fucking dance to, and
It's rock and roll, man.
yeah, if you're determined, you can learn to play them all. You know?
Yeah.
They have a hell of a catalog just because they've
Yeah.
been. Yeah, they're super talented.
Yeah, the title song on that is one of those ones that
Yeah.
stapled their mark
That
in
that
America.
it is. As a
you
matter
know?
of fact, the opening chord everybody knows is like just awesome, and it ends on that chord too as well. They play the individual notes to or would that be George Harrison? That's like jingling the notes at the very end. At the very end of that, yeah. I don't know. I do enjoy the album. I still own the record. I will always own the record. It was a gift to me from my friend Haley, and can't really thank her enough for that.
Shout out to Haley.
Yeah, can't really thank her enough for that record because although it's a reprint of an original vinyl, it sounds probably way better than the original would,
Yeah.
being that it's new vinyl. So gotta love that stuff.
Ain't no
But,
shame in that.
But overall, I think I've really covered everything about the record. I just got to say, though, that the 2 hits, it was... what was it? Should have known better, maybe? But maybe I'm wrong. But I do know that their biggest hit was the self-titled song. So
Yeah, Hard Day's Night.
But
You
they're-
think when Ringo said that, he meant... Well, it's like it's been a hard day of work. Like it's been a hard day's work.
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
It's like, it's been a hard day's night.
I don't know, but I feel like he was just kind of bitching and moaning, and the artsy fartsy British director was probably like, "Oh, this is a good title."
It's like, I got blisters on my fingers. He's like, he's just bitchy. You imagine Ringo just being bitchy?
But yeah.
Yeah, just like,
It's a diva.
I'm really hot.
I mean,
guys,
he
it's
was-
hot in here.
He was the diva in the group before. I mean, he even joined up with the group.
I heard he was super talented or something before.
He was like the hit
I
drummer.
don't know whatever happened.
Yeah, then he gets into the Beatles, and they're just like, "Go play your umbrella or whatever." And go like, "Oh fuck!" He's like, "Guys, I'm really good. Trust me."
When he first joined, he was like the hit drummer at the time, and he had been in several groups before then. I can't remember if it was when they were in Hamburg, Germany. Can't remember if that was when they first met him. But yeah, like he was the hit drummer at the time.
Shit, it was like, "Oh, Ringo Starr."
Yeah,
Done.
it's not his real name.
And then the Beatles are just like, "Hey man, you're pretty good. You want to come along?" And then they just pick on him. He's like, "I'm really important in Germany."
They did say
Sure you
he
are.
was a good Beatle. Who was the Beatle before him? The drummer before him? Anybody?
Oh, I was about to say, I'm not even positive. I'm looking to
His
you
name
for that.
Steve or something.
Well, that's a good one, but where's the last name? I don't
That
know.
was back when they were playing just like
I remember a
fairs
quote
and shit,
watching a
right?
documentary
Street fairs and
about
Playing like those underground clubs and stuff.
oh yeah, the tavern stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, they pretty much, John Lennon said that Ringo's predecessor may have been a good drummer, but Ringo was a great Beatle.
Hey, see, I like that.
That's some real stuff.
He fit in.
Yeah. He did like a glove. So
like a glove.
I mean, with all those rings on his finger, I mean.
Pete Best. That was the original drummer, that's Pete Best, from 1960 to 1962. And then after that, it was Ringo Starr, forever, with his mustache.
But pretty much the album wasn't necessarily the greatest album. And in my opinion, when it comes down to the Beatles, they do have a lot of great songs. They have some really good albums. And a lot of times, listening to some of the songs that they write, they're a little like wishy-washy to me. I'm not really a huge fan of some of the stuff. But overall, as a band, as four guys like us working together on something, it's really cool. A lot of the talent that came out of it, a lot of the music that came out of it. They are a really great band. But I gotta say that there are maybe 3 or 4 songs on this record that I actually enjoy. I'll still listen to the whole record, but it's not necessarily my fave. I don't put it up there as my favorite. I really dig some of the songs, some of the meanings, and some of the songs.
What is your favorite?
My favorite Beatles album of all time.
Yeah.
All time. I gotta get a drum roll or.
Oh, sorry. Shubop.
It would have to be Sgt. Pepper.
Hey,
okay.
Yeah.
Sgt. Pepper is probably my favorite album of all time. It's up there with 2, maybe 1 other album, but Sgt. Pepper most definitely.
Nice.
It's all over the place, which I think's awesome. The artwork, musically, and on the record. I've never owned the record. I've owned it as a CD, but I just figured, for the sake of the cast, gotta throw the record out there if we're doing the Beatles. So, good stuff. I'm gonna time travel though. I'm a little out of it today. So,
You done with?
yeah, let's go to
that?
let's go further into the '60s.
Yeah. I'm going to me now. Which is funny because you said it was the third. Yours was Hard Day's Night was the 3rd studio album. We're going to the 7th studio album.
Shit. Yeah, we're just skipping all that medium, that PB and J. It's like we want bread. We're starving.
This is fantastic because we actually have a chance to build off of each other within the podcast. Because you were saying how Hard Day's Night was basically like their intro into actually rock and roll and stuff like that. Well, I'm doing Revolver. Released in 1966, August 5th in the UK, and 3 days later in the States. And it by many critics, this album's been known to, I guess, kind of signify that their intro or their beginnings into the psychedelic rock.
Okay.
I mean, quotations there,
Sure.
Because, I mean, when people think of psychedelic rock, you can think of so many other groups that are like, well, this group did this more than, but for their, career, this was like their intro into it.
Into that crazy kind of sound.
I feel like they paved the way for it, especially with Pepper. But I mean, even with Revolver, was like their introduction to it. So I mean, they're the reason I feel like in a big way
for Sgt. Pepper
to get it all rolling.
Yeah.
So.
For Sgt. Pepper, the biggest thing behind that was they wanted to try to make like a different band because they've been the Beatles forever. They're just like, oh, let's pretend to not be the Beatles or something. And
I think I heard about that.
So they changed up. That's why that album is just like complete right turn from their usual shit.
I don't even think it's titled as a Beatle. Like they're not titled as the Beatles for that record. Not to get off track from Revolver, but Sgt. Pepper is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. So I mean, like I feel like that was like. They even have themselves as there's the Beatles.
It's on the kick drum, like the legendary Beatles kick drum. It's not in that. It's the Sgt. Pepper's.
When Sgt. Pepper's come out, that was
after 68. Was that after 68?
I think
it was late
60s,
man.
I thought it was 67 as well.
Yeah.
And that must have been right before they went to India and everything.
This is
No, that was when they did because you got to look at Harrison's.
The hat.
No, George Harrison started messing around with the sitar. No.
Oh,
that was before, but I think they did Sgt. Pepper beforehand.
Before they went to India
yeah,
with
'cause
Shakar and shit.
I got all the
You're gonna
notes here
tell.
about
All
it.
right.
Yeah.
Aha!
Hear all
I was
that.
about to say, I'm
top
sitting
of
here
it, dude.
smiling because it's like this. It was the intro into their whole drug-induced.
Yeah, this is the beginning.
Oh.
of
yeah,
that.
this is the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Harrison starts to play sitar on a lot of these songs, especially for where is it? Love You Too. It's incorporates a lot of Hindustani classic music and a lot of sitar playing and stuff like that. And around this time was it? I think what I read was Harrison and Lennon at the time were really getting into their LSD and starting to experiment with all of that stuff and whatnot. So
It's a great matchup.
Lennon
Yeah.
just walks in the room like, hey, George. What? What's wrong? Nothing. Dude, you want to get high? Like every like 2 or 3 days, like, man, you want to do some LSD, dude? It's like,
yeah,
what the-
it's funny because I mean it's like around this time they were all, or I mean there's one of your conspiracies or whatnot.
Oh?
where I still think it's a possibility that all four did it. A lot of the resources that I read said Paul was the odd man out. Paul was the square one when it came to
Dude.
the LSD.
Possibly because, oh my God, that's okay. Never mind. Do your thing.
Yeah, see, it's gonna be tough because
Oh
we're all
my
skipping
God.
around. And
You
it's
saying
all-
that just shook my foundation a bit with the stuff I was researching.
We're
Like,
all leading into each other's albums here.
Paul didn't fuck with LSD.
Yeah, he
He
was the
seems
square
like
when
the
it came to LSD.
workhorse type of guy that would just try to stay away from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you want to go get drunk? He's like, no, I'll have a coffee. Just like,
some
God
tea.
damn it, Paul,
Just
you're
some
no fun. Just
I think he probably at least tried it, but he didn't excess with it.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll
Probably
talk
just
about that. Well, actually, I'll say this from watching one of the many documentaries I watched with Cody throughout our whole time was the Beatles actually, after even trying all these hallucinogens, would get offered by people coming back home or going wherever they go drugs, and like they were kind of against it. They tried it, they experimented with it, but it wasn't that wasn't the lifestyle. They were like, yeah, we did it, it's not what we're about, you know, like stop making that what it's all about, you know. And that was all of them, although
Yeah.
they tried it, you know.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, as you
I
were,
get
Ian.
it. I get it. You know, it's like if you're in public, it's like, we're not all about that.
Yeah.
But give me like one. Like, give me
It's
like-
also, I mean, a public image kind of thing.
Give me one LSD,
for them,
please.
especially going from where
Absolutely.
they, you know, were to here to, you know, future endeavors that we'll talk about soon. I think that also has a big thing to do with it is public image. But
Yeah, I completely understand that shit.
back to the album, Revolver. Yeah, we're gonna get off topic a lot on this one.
But it's okay as long as we kind of try to just steer back onto it.
Yeah. But yeah, they at the time they were about to do or thinking about doing their third feature film, Hard Day's Night and so forth, and after that, but they vetoed it. And with all this time that since they vetoed it, I mean, I think they said it was like 3 months or 4 months or stuff. They started working on more stuff for an album, and like I said, 1966 started that whole psychedelic era for them because they were all obviously experimenting and whatnot. But yeah, so the studio that they recorded at EMI Studios, Abbey Road Studio 3, where most of their albums were recorded. But the thing was with that studio at the time, it wasn't an up-to-date studio. It wasn't completely... I mean, you hear Abbey Road now, and you're like, that would be an amazing place. I would just love to see it.
Yeah, it's
even.
like it's a landmark.
Yeah.
It's a legend.
But at the time, it wasn't up-to-date. You know, at this time, you got to think that engineers were, like, in lab coats.
What?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm that serious. Like, engineers and stuff like that at that time were in lab coats.
Like turning knobs and flicking switches to
Well, I mean, if
a
you-
green wavy
Wearing
thing on the
gloves,
screen.
making sure
Yeah.
dust doesn't fall on the fucking equipment because that shit's worth a lot of
The
fucking
tape,
money.
if you've ever seen a tape machine,
For
you'd
real.
understand. If you've ever seen a tape machine, you'd understand what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
The thing looks like it should be in, you know, some lab somewhere, but
Like
it's
in a
not.
1950s sci-fi movie.
Yeah, almost.
Oh.
But they wanted to record at a modern facility, and so they sent Brian Epstein to their manager to Memphis to check out Stax Studio. They wanted to work with they wanted to work with Stax Studios in-house producer Jim Stewart, but they had to abandon it because fans started showing up.
Oh,
People started hearing like, "Oh, they're coming to town."
rumors coming.
Yeah,
let's
go
crowd the place, huh?
Yes.
So they can't work or come out with an album.
Yeah, so it's like people started crowding around. So
Beatlemania all over again.
yeah, so they abandoned that hope. They also wanted to record at Atlantic Studios in New York. That got abandoned, and also at was it Motown's facilities up in Detroit.
Oh wow.
That got abandoned.
Wow.
Yeah, they
Did
wanted
not know that.
Yeah, me neither.
Just because
That's pretty
people
crazy.
kept showing up, like fans kept showing
Yeah,
up.
they wanted to record at a more modern facility.
Oh my
but-
god! But they weren't allowed to because people can't just hit the chill button.
Should
Yeah.
have put disguises on.
Fucking Michael Jackson, like blanket.
So-
like hide their face, wear masks.
So right back over to London, EMI Studios, Abbey Road Studio 3, which is considered a more intimate setting.
course.
It's not as open or crowded. I mean, if you watch any videos of Abbey Road, you see that big main room where the control booth overlooks the studio.
awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's fantastic! It's amazing.
Get a
And-
musical orgasm every time.
I mean,
It looks
yeah,
perfect.
it looks amazing.
Gonna record so hard here. like,
If I ever see that fucker Justin Bieber recording there, I'm gonna get so pissed.
I'm gonna fucking lose it, dude.
May have to take a
hopefully,
flight out
hopefully he
there.
doesn't hear the
Not worthy.
podcast. That little prick.
But yeah. So this was their first album where they actually started incorporating the studio into how the albums were made instead of just using it as a tool. They started to experiment, and one of the main things that I noticed that they started using was automatic double taking or tracking. Sorry.
What's that?
Which is it's 2-link tape recorders to create a double vocal track, which eventually in the long run leads to our modern chorusing. And that was the first way that they did it.
Wow. So like
Yeah.
doubling up on people's voices. That
Yeah.
was the first.
That's the
You gotta, people at home, you gotta think. Like, you couldn't do this shit. You didn't have laptops back then.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't easy.
It wasn't memory or RAM. It wasn't memory
all
is
on
RAM.
tape.
this
Yeah.
this
People
technique-
like us didn't exist on fucking recordings back then,
Like,
and if they
no.
did, they're tarnished. They're bullshit. Like these guys had top of the line, the best of the best.
Yeah.
This is what they got.
I mean, we use the
Talk about
tape.
computers and stuff
We use
here.
the giant tape recorder here at the Bastard Studio. Like none of y'all at home can see that, but that's what we use to do the podcast.
yeah, it fits in my pocket.
Yeah, it's on a cell phone. We do everything on a cell phone.
But yeah, this basically that technique leads into your modern day chorusing. I mean, if you're a guitar player, the chorusing effect. I mean, basically anybody. Well, maybe not anybody, but any musician. That leads into your chorusing effect and whatnot. And this was they used that a lot. I mean, obviously, before the automatic double tracking, you basically had to sing the same part twice. Exactly the same. Yeah. So it's like for a lot of more emotional singers, that can be kind of tough because it's almost like the performance is part of the art. So each performance is different. And that is really difficult when you have to record something to sing the same exact thing.
Absolutely, you have to be skilled.
Yeah, you got to be skilled, and of course
Have to
Very
be.
interesting.
and of course the one who didn't like this method was Lennon.
I would guess.
Of course.
He was the one who definitely didn't like that. So I mean, this is a big step for them. Jeff Emmerich, who was their engineer for many years.
Yeah, we talked about him.
We've talked about him a lot. We talked about him last week or on the last episode too. And another fantastic individual. He has a book out. I highly recommend it. Not trying to push anybody on it, but if you're a Beatles fan and you are a studio nerd like myself, then his book is definitely good. But a quote of his, or I guess a segment of his, he said that the Beatles encouraged the staff to break from the standard recording practices. So you walk into the studio, engineers have lab coats, and you have the Beatles coming in saying, "Stop it."
Everybody
do
just
that.
chill.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
LSD.
what they basically said was that a piano shouldn't sound like a piano and a guitar shouldn't sound like a guitar.
Okay.
So this is kind of what we're going for. And if you listen to this album, there are some parts that you can definitely hear that are like, is that a guitar or is that
Like, what is
what
that
is
sound?
that? But Yeah, and like I said, Jeff Emmerich and whatnot, they highly experimented with sound, especially with this album. They listened to everything backwards, sped up, slowed down, everything, every which way to make or use the studio to create this album.
Right on.
Yeah. Speaking of Emmerich again, a lot of his innovations at that time were he recorded the bass amp on one of the songs for the album through a loudspeaker instead of a microphone.
Wait. So, a loudspeaker, like a megaphone?
You can wire a loudspeaker to, a speaker in general, you can wire it to receive sound.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I never knew you could do that. That's kind of cool.
I remembered how to do it because it did give a really cool effect.
Oh, man. I'm going to do that. I have speakers.
I wish I knew how to do it.
It's natural effects, which is the beauty of like this guy. From what I'm listening to, what you're telling me about, it's amazing. He sounds really interesting.
Basically, what we all take for advantage with our pedals and our pedal boards and stuff like that, they were actually doing it. But think of it as like
the prehistoric era, pretty much,
like a more hardware.
Yeah.
The more physical way
Instead of being like, I have this pedal when you press it, it makes my guitar sound like a blender with nails in it. They were just like, let's put a blender with nails in it.
Instead of receiving the instrument and then going into a file, you would probably say, Chris, instead of using laptops, like you said earlier, it's the same shit.
Using laptops.
They actually did it
this
the
is
real way. It's equivalent to you're working on a car, and instead of using one of those air powered
things,
a drill.
Drill.
Yeah, and like an air powered drill.
You're using and turning a wrench. We're musicians.
Yeah, it's like instead of using one of those, it would be like just using the regular old bar.
Yeah.
I like that.
The other cool thing that I read was that almost every drummer I know that does this now. But I'm sure you guys have seen it too. Put a pillow in the bass drum.
Of course.
Did the Beatles invent that?
I wouldn't say they invented it, but Jeff Emmerich was definitely one of the first to implement it into recording.
How?
He basically stuck a piece of clothing in the bass drum to dampen the sound, and they mic'd it 3 inches away from the drum head and compressed the signal. Yeah,
and it's easy as that.
Yeah, as easy as that.
I wouldn't have thought of that's great, and it's any drummer I've ever known has
Always
a pillow.
on the bass drum.
Holy shit! And this guy was just like one day this guy was just like, I don't like the way that sounds. Let's put a pillow in it. Like, okay.
He's a really brilliant guy for the time. He definitely we take a lot of things for advantage now in the studios, but somebody had to think of it before we got used to it being the norm.
Yeah, that's why I was like, wow, because that's the norm, and I think we just read about the birth of that.
Of certain things. But most of what I got down here is the different things that they did with the songs here. I'll just run through it fairly quickly because it is quite a lot. But a lot of their songs were influenced by Indian music. This is kind of where it started and whatnot. Taxman, first track on the album.
Good tune.
Yeah. It's a Harrison song, obviously, to protest high marginal tax rates. At the time, they were being taxed as much as 90%, 95%.
Whoa.
At the time, for high income, high earners, they were being taxed a crap ton.
Well, they deserve it. They make too much.
Yeah. The other thing was for that song, McCartney actually played the guitar solo for it.
Wow. Did not know that.
Yeah.
For what
he
song?
played guitar.
Taxman.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy because that's George Harrison's song, but McCartney did the solo.
the solo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
And he, like I said, the solo was based off of the Indian style. Eleanor Rigby, McCartney song, fantastic song.
Yeah.
Written about the narratives a narrative of the perils of being lonely. No Beatle played on the track.
What?
Yeah, that's right.
It was
About voices.
a string quartet arranged by George Martin. Of
the
course, the voices, but nobody played.
Nobody actually like, boom, boom.
No.
Yeah, because it was all strings.
It was a string quartet.
There's a cut of it too with just the string section, and
Mm-hmm.
it's beautiful, no lyrics or anything.
Anybody
It's just
know
the-
who
Like,
it
they do
was?
the whole,
Was the
they
quartet
do
like
vocals.
Oh,
Who was the actual quartet?
Yeah,
that'd be
yeah. I
cool.
mean, like,
Yeah,
did
it's
they
pretty
like
tight.
who they hired? Did they find them like that great, or were they just like studio workers?
I'm sure it was George. I mean,
Probably.
Abbey Road around that time was known for their orchestrations too, and George
Yeah.
Martin being a genius himself, he actually composed the
Okay.
music for the string quartet.
Right on. Okay, that's pretty cool. So yeah, just some studio guys, that
Yeah,
you
probably.
outsource them.
More
Hey,
likely.
you know how to play this one. You know how to play.
Mhm.
Come over here real quick. Let me.
But lyrically,
record.
that was actually a group effort too.
Okay.
Even though it's coined as a McCartney song,
Right.
they all
Everybody
contributed.
sang.
yeah,
And well, I mean,
including-
they were that was their thing though. That was their theme as a group popping into the United States, coming up. They were the vocal group. You would hear these guys sing, and they sounded great together. Plus, they're playing instruments as well. They put on a great show. That's what kind of made them big. And people at one point in their early years, they would call out songs and they would fucking play them. Like they just play a song one after the other. People just call out requests, and they were taking requests like a fucking radio
That's a good
station.
defense, because a lot of people who are sour about the Beatles, they always say, "Oh well, they're just the first boy band or whatever."
yeah,
Yeah.
because they were cute. I mean, gee, they were gorgeous.
Ringo, oh my god.
I mean, yeah, they had a following of like teenage girls and shit. But I'll tell you one thing: the Jonas Brothers don't write their own fucking songs. The Beatles wrote their own
Neither
shit.
Yeah.
did the monkeys. No.
Yeah, and guess what? Nick Jonas, the Beatles also don't fuck up on stage with shitty guitar solos.
Yeah, I saw that. That was horrible.
Oh my god, it was like watching somebody die on stage. Like, dude, I feel so bad for him. Like, I could have done better.
I don't feel bad for that.
Yeah,
douchebag.
Cody took the words right out of my
If,
mouth.
if anything, it just made me feel great because I was like, "Fuck, I could have rocked that shit. I could have become famous that night. Like if I just ran up on stage and took his guitar."
I could have become famous by running on stage and taking off my pants, but it's only been 15 minutes.
This isn't the Doors we're talking about.
Hey, what are we talking about over here?
We're talking about the next track, which is "I'm Only Sleeping." Critics said that this was Lennon basically being lazy, which I think it's a fantastic song. Oh yeah, yeah.
Maybe it's just the title that the critics are just so enthralled about.
He's
mean-
too lazy.
Yeah, they said him being lazy. This was the first song on the album that they recorded faster and subjected to varuspeeding, which is basically recording it at a faster tempo and then slowing it down to the tempo they actually prefer.
Did they do that with Strawberry
Interesting.
Fields? Because I've listened to that for years, and it always sounds like Lennon's voice is like
I'll have to listen to it again.
his voice sounds like really low.
Yeah, like I
That
said,
makes sense.
they started incorporating a lot of that stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Like
Yeah, around
across
this
the
time.
universe, maybe. Like, water flowing.
I don't know. That you got to think from. I'm pretty sure a few other ones before this, but I mean, from here on, you're gonna get a lot of the studio heavy editing stuff going on, but the guitar solo was backmasked, which is Frankenstein playing it backwards.
Hey, yeah, Frankenstein.
But Harrison did it in a way where he specifically paid attention to how the notes sounded when played forwards. So it's like if you listen to that song "I'm Only Sleeping," you can even though it's a backwards guitar solo, it actually sets up pretty damn good musically with the rest of the song.
Like forward. It
Yeah.
sounds like it's forward, but it's played backwards.
Yes.
That's crazy. It's a mind fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they it's a lot of the stuff. Like I said, a lot of these songs, most of my notes are on the
Yeah.
songs themselves because
Yeah.
I mean you can only talk so much about the album and whatnot. Here, There, Everywhere, McCartney song. It was inspired by "God Only Knows" by the Beach Boys.
Hey.
The vocals were varuspeeded, of course, and there were immense amount of shifts in the time signature to. I mean, I didn't write all of them down, but it was like 9/8 and 6/8, and which is fairly similar, and 4/4, and just a lot of jumping around and
Those
whatnot.
are beats per minute.
It's a time signature. How many beats in a
Measure.
yes?
yeah.
Thank you. I was drawing a brain fart.
I was trying to just like for the folks at home in
It's-
case they
yeah.
didn't know.
All right.
Yellow Submarine, written by Paul McCartney.
Oh yeah.
For Ringo Starr. Woo woo. McCartney compared it to a kid's story.
It sounds like a kid's story.
It is.
when
He
you listen to it.
basically wrote it within the confines of Ringo
Movie.
Starr being able to sing it.
The movie. I mean, it's like he had a vision from the gate, and there it
Yeah.
is. There's a movie, a song, and just all sorts of toys and lunchboxes for
Oh
you.
yeah,
too.
like the little
Yeah.
the blue meanies.
Yeah.
They're like, no, everything's like opposite.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's very bad, and it's like, oh, I thought it was good, sir. It's like, no, it's bad. The show was hilarious.
But that's a track where they absolutely utilized the studio as more than a tool. They what was it? They got. I only wrote down these two names because everybody should know them. But they got Brian Jones and Mick Jagger,
Hey,
along with two of the Rolling Stones roadies, to come help to try to emulate that nautical atmosphere. And I mean, all of the stuff that they used within the studio. They used
All kinds of shit.
what was it? Abbey Road's echo chamber, I want to say, or yeah. I think it was the echo chamber. But they used a lot of stuff to get that atmosphere. Side 2, Good Day Sunshine, is McCartney's song. There wasn't really a whole lot on that one. It was just like, here's a song by McCartney. Ta-da!
yeah.
Andrew Burke can sing, Lennon's song. Harrison and McCartney actually did a dual lead guitar on that.
Ooh.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So McCartney was really fucking around on guitar.
He
Damn,
started out on
Beatles
guitar.
were doing dual
I mean, the
guitar
guy-
for a
I-
lot of other people. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
I gotta
stole
say,
it.
the guy was as a bass player. I would say that his lead guitar playing is fucking.
It's pretty spot on. I'm just
mean,
like, what's
I've
Lennon
only
been
heard
doing this whole time?
I'm not a great. I'm a bass player. I'm not a great lead guitar player by any means. I'm not a guitarist. I'm a songwriter here and there. I play bass. I can make do. But I'm not, But as far as like a traditional bass player, classically trained, that
Yeah.
guy can play that instrument and a few instruments more, because when you start off from bass, being the bass, and then you work up to wherever, piano, guitar, wherever, it's almost like typing
Yeah.
on a keyboard.
He
and
started
going.
on guitar.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
about to say, I was like, I'm not sure where I can cite it, but it's like when Paul met John, they were both guitar
Yeah.
players, and John was like
Yeah.
playing with a band and everything.
This
and
was
Paul-
when they were
Well,
the
there you go.
Quarrymen.
yeah, and
Yep.
Paul was like, "Oh, you're so cool, but check this song out." And he, like,
What was it?
did him up almost.
Cody, you might know this one. Was it Hamburg? Pete Sutcliffe. Does that name ring a bell?
A little bit. Why?
I think he was the bass player at the time when they went to Hamburg.
Okay,
so
yeah. I think that's the guy I was thinking of earlier when I said Steve. Thinking of the other.
Oh,
people
Pete
member.
Best.
We're
That's
No,
not
it's a
drummer
different guy.
that-
This
Oh,
is
well,
the guy
we're thinking
who
about something
committed
else.
suicide. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. He was
Yeah.
an artist and stuff, and he was
a friend of the Beatles
Yeah.
during their Hamburg, Germany
Yep, that's
times.
right.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
I think at that time McCartney was playing guitar and had to flip flop over to
why,
bass.
yeah, that's why he switched to bass because he killed himself.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
They made a movie about it with
Didn't
Steven
know
Dorff.
Oh,
You
was
know
it
the
good?
guy from Blade?
Yeah. Wait, which one? Which one from Blade?
Blade 1.
The old guy?
No, man. Fucking Steven Dorff, the bad guy.
Oh, that
the
fucker.
ginger.
Oh, jeez. That must be awful then.
Anyways, For No One's McCartney song inspired by a relationship that he had with at the time of English actress Jane Asher. This song eschewed him from the rest of the group dynamic kind of thing. This was basically him almost doing everything on that track kind of thing, and the rest of the group didn't like it. Yeah. After that, you got Dr. Robert, Lennon song. I Want to Tell You is a Harrison song. He said that this song was like an avalanche of thoughts that he found hard to express in words.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was basically that.
That's what the song is. I don't think I've heard that one yet.
Have you heard the album yet?
Revolver, I heard like half of it 2 years ago because I've never owned it.
So not yet, not recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to Get You Into My Life, Paul McCartney song. It was Motown influenced. And then the last one is Tomorrow Never Knows, which is a Lennon song. They used a lot of things on this too. They reversed the guitar, processed the vocals heavily, the Varus beating and all that such, and the looped tape effects, which they all took home, a little 4-track and went to town with it, doing anything and everything that they could think of with it just to get certain sounds and all that stuff. And this song is considered the apex of the studio innovation for the album. I mean, because they completely went to town with that.
Sweet.
But yeah, those are all the tracks. The cover, it's by Klaus Vormann. He's a German bassist / artist. And I think he was another one that they tried out during the Hamburg years.
Oh, really?
That's how they met. Because he pops up with the album art a lot, too. I think he... don't quote me on this. I don't know if he did Sgt. Pepper's or not. But he has done a couple other of the... I don't remember who that was. He has done a couple of the other album arts for the covers and whatever. He said it was part line drawing, part collage. It's... The cover, it's a white album cover, and it has...
Looks like sketches of each of their faces.
It has their faces sketched out, but along with, he took photos of them as well and kind of placed it, with the sketching of the drawings and stuff like that.
Yeah, pretty much their silhouettes, and then he would, add the definition with the pictures, kind of.
Kind of. It's kind of I think Chris is pulling up right now. You might be able to see it.
No, I've seen it. I know the album covers.
The thing I thought was funny was that he actually included his name in his photograph, worked into Harrison's hair on the right-hand side of the cover, which I thought was pretty funny. And it won a Grammy for Best Album Cover Art.
Oh, wow.
What year was that?
Klaus Vormann.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. That's who we're talking about.
Yeah.
What year was that?
I did say his name right.
I believe so.
1966.
Cool.
Klaus
I just wanted to
Vormann?
make sure, a lot of classic bands will win Grammys 20, 30 years later. So I'm just trying to set the record straight for that. So
with the title, this was what was it? We spoke of titles earlier.
Oh, that was me. Hard Day's Night. Yeah, it was the Ringoism.
They originally wanted Abracadabra.
Huh?
Yeah. They couldn't use it. It was used by another group. Lennon was favoring Four Sides of the Eternal Triangle.
I like that.
And Ringo was favoring After Geography. They went from Magic Circles to Beatles on Safari to Pendulum before settling on Revolver.
Probably because they wanted to blow their fucking brains out after trying to decide on it.
I thought Beatles on Safari was
That's a
funny.
good one right there. I'll give you that.
That's all they had on their minds. They're just like, fuck this, I'm done.
But yeah, they covered up with saying that it was a pun referring to both a handgun and the revolving motion of a record as it's played.
Oh, okay. Revolver. It's a revolver.
Yeah.
That sounds like an English thing. Like they would call a record a revolver. That sounds like, because they always have funny names for shit.
Like a trunk in the United States, it's called a boot in the UK.
Yeah, and what is it? The loo.
The loo
is a bathroom, and a trolley is a truck, like a big old truck. Oh, the trolley. What? Like, come on.
Anyways, it hit number 1 in the UK, US, Australia,
not
and
biscuits.
Germany, which was West German at the time, and Sweden. So number 1 as soon as it came out in those 5 countries, except for Norway. Norway didn't like them. Those Norwegians.
What?
Yeah.
We do not like you. Get the fuck out.
It only hit 14 in Norway.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, ain't too bad.
all of those numbers are way better than my record.
Yeah,
I mean, my
but
record looked bad compared to yours. And I got to say real quick, just to brush up, Can't Buy Me Love was the only other single on that album that I just talked about.
Oh, on a Hard Day's Night.
Yeah.
Just throwing that.
Yeah. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I said it was, should have known better. Totally not.
You should have known better.
I should have, right? But
yeah,
anyways, go ahead.
I'm almost done here.
That's awesome.
Certifications hit platinum in the UK and Australia, 2 times platinum in Canada, and 5 times platinum in the US. This is, of course, over time, but when it was released in the United States, the album sold 1,187,869 copies by December 31st of 1966. It was released in August, and it hit 1.1 million copies by the end of the year.
Wow. So it's
Yeah.
only the span of 3-4 months.
Beatlemania.
Yeah, Beatlemania, baby.
And then it hit 1.7.
A lot of screaming girly fans will
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, and then it hit 1.7 million copies by the end of the decade. So, and going into the 70s, it almost went double platinum,
Yeah.
which is insane. But
For nowadays, I mean, but give the internet to the 60s and see what happens.
oh
right?
god,
Speaking about screaming fangirls, I like forever ago when I got into the Beatles, I asked my mother, I was like, "Hey mom, did you ever have a crush on one of the Beatles?" She was like, "Well, everybody did." And I was like, "Mom, who was it?" And she was like kind of standoffish, and I was like, "Oh, don't tell me it's Ringo." But no, she was always a Paul girl. She loved Paul.
They all did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said she went out to see one of the fucking movies and she hated it because all the girls in there were fucking screaming. And she was like, "I'm trying to watch it's a movie. Like they're not here. God damn it. People are retarded." And it's just like it was kind of funny. I thought I just wanted to throw that
You've
out.
seen Shawshank, right? When they're sitting there watching the movie and they're all like, "Woo!"
Yeah. Like,
Oh, what's her name? God damn it, I forgot her name. Cody, help me, man.
Shawshank when they're watching the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, because
that hot chick, like
Rita Hayworth.
there it is.
Yeah.
hey,
pops
Cody
up.
with the pull, damn.
Yeah, thanks.